Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about some more authors that I have read one book by and now cannot wait to read more by them. Now I did a similar video to this back in May, which I can't believe it's already been that long ago, where I talked about some of the authors that I had read a book by and books that I was looking forward to reading. So we're going to get into more of those today. I have quite a few more authors that fit this criteria now. And I've kind of divided these out into genre. So we do have some authors who are mystery, suspense, thriller authors. We have some fantasy, we have historical fiction, and a contemporary author that we're going to talk about. Now, for every author I cover, I'm going to be talking about a book that I have read and completed by them, along with at least one book that I'm looking forward to reading next by them. And some of them, there'll be multiple books that I talk about. And without further ado, let's jump right into our first author, and that is Natalie Walters. I read her book, Living Lies, in July and absolutely loved it and can't wait to read more by her. So I have several books that I'm looking forward to. This one is the first book in her Harbored Secrets series, so it may not surprise you that one of the books that I'm looking forward to reading by her is the next book in that series, and that is called Deadly Deceit. And I love the covers on these books. They're so atmospheric and kind of haunting and kind of creepy looking, and I really just love these covers. So Deadly Deceit is definitely another book I would like to read by Natalie Walters. But that's not all. I have a couple of others that I'm looking forward to getting into. One of those is another one of her series, and that is the Snap Agency. These look so good as well. There are 3 books in this series and a novella, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to read all 3 of these plus the novella because they just look so good. The first book in this series looks really interesting because it says there's an international plot that the 2 main characters are pulled into. International plot, intrigue, suspense, action, all those kind of things are just so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to this series. And another book that I'm really hoping to read sooner rather than later is Spies, Lies, and Alibis. And the back of this one says, they were each other's first love, now they might be each other's last hope. And this has got spies in it. Spies. Say no more. I would like to read this book. All right, next in the suspense thriller category, we have Carrie Stuart Parks. I read a book by her called Fragments of Fear and really enjoyed it. It took place in New Mexico. There was constant action and adventure the entire time, and I adored the main characters. I had no idea what was going to happen next because things were so twisty-turny, and I really loved this. So I am looking forward to reading more books by Carrie Stuart Parks. And one of those that I own that I'm looking forward to reading next is Fallout, and this looks really fascinating. It says, her carefully crafted life is about to be demolished. Another one that I don't physically own by her, but that I'm looking forward to reading is called Relative Silence. And this one says, a powerful family with dark secrets, a forensic artist with his own haunting past, and the truth will determine whether she lives or dies. Looks really good. I'm excited to give this one a try. So this is one that I don't physically own by Carrie, but I'm looking forward to reading. All right, moving into our third author. That author is Lynn H. Blackburn, and I had the pleasure of reading one of her books recently, and that was the first book in her Gossamer Falls series. That was Never Fall Again. This was such a great book. I loved the cast of characters in this story. It was amazing. She did such an amazing job with character depth and really getting you invested in those characters so much that they feel almost real and like family. This was suspense, but with a little flair of coziness to it that just made it a wonderful read. And of course, that means that one of the books I'd like to read next by her is Break My Fall, which is book 2 in the Gossamer Falls series. This book is about a couple of characters that you actually meet in the first book, and they get their own story, and I'm really looking forward to that because they were really fascinating characters in the first book, so I'm excited to see what their story is. And then another series by Lynn H. Blackburn that I'm looking forward to getting into is the Defend and Protect series. And the first book of that is Unknown Threat. It looks so good, and there are several books in this series to enjoy as well. It looks like the main characters in this are a U.S. Secret Service special agent and an FBI special agent. And it looks like there are agents who are actually being targeted, and they've died in some unusual circumstances in the past multiple weeks. And so they're trying to figure out what is going on and why these agents are being targeted. So this looks fantastic. I'm excited to get into this one. One last author that I have completed one book by and I'm looking forward to reading others is Jessica R. Patch. Now, I just read her book, The Girl Upstairs, and absolutely loved it. So, of course, I want to read everything else by Jessica and go through her entire backlist. She has quite a number of books, but there are a couple I'm really interested in tackling first. One of those is called The Other Sister, and this sounds really interesting. It says she thought she was the only one lying about her identity until she stepped into her sister's life. So that right there is enough to get me really interested. I'm wondering what is going on. She's lying about her identity. Now she's stepping into her sister's life. And obviously there's secrets there as well. And so it's going to be really fascinating to find out what those are. And this book looks really good. I'm also looking forward to reading her interconnected series that starts with Her Darkest Secret. Now this one, it kind of semi-counts because I did read a portion of this book, but I never got to finish it, and it was really sad because I ended up never getting to finish it, and I don't even remember what I read when I first started it. So I'm going to be just starting this one all over as if I never read it, and that's why I went ahead and still added her to this list, because I've only technically completed one book from her, and this series looks so good, and I'm really sad that I didn't get to finish it when I had originally started reading this one. But this book sounds very scary and creepy, and it sounds like one that would be really fun to read in the fall, so I might save this to read, I don't know, maybe September, October-ish time period, depending on whether I pick this one up or whether I pick up The Other Sister. But I'm hoping to read one of these two this fall because I think they would really fit the vibe of a little more of a spooky season type feel. All right, time to move on to fantasy authors, which is tons of fun. I adore reading fantasy, and I have a few that I've read a book by, and now I'm looking forward to reading some others. The first one of those is Jessica Scarlett. I read her book Town of Shadows not that long ago and really enjoyed it. It's fantasy that's set in Victorian London, which was really cool. So you get this little bit of history mixed with fantasy and also a little touch of mystery to it as well. But there's definitely magic and a lot going on in this. And I enjoyed this story, and I'm looking forward now to reading Smoke in the Mirrors, which is the second book in that series. Obviously, I can't go into any real particulars about this book because of spoilers, and I believe this one picks up pretty much where the first one left off. But I'm really looking forward to this, and I believe there's going to be a book 3, and that is another one that I'm looking forward to diving into. So this whole series looks like it's going to be really fun, and I can't wait to read more stories by Jessica. Another author that I read a first book by very recently was Carrie Cotten and her book The Huntress. This was a phenomenal read. This was a 5-star read for me. I loved this book. It was so good. And Carrie actually has 4 other books that are kind of set in this series. So I'm really hoping to get into all of those. And of course, the next book is one of the books that I want to read next. And I may have already started it. To be fair, I hadn't started it when I made this list for this video, but I couldn't help jumping in and reading this next book, and that is The Viking, which is the second book in this series. And as you can see, I've got my little bookmark tucked in here because I am currently working on it. I am not too far into this. Like, I'm really just in the first quarter or so of the book, so I haven't gotten very far, but I have started to read this one and am working on reading it this month. And so I'm excited about this. Another book by Carrie Cotten I would like to read is Dreamwalker. And this one looks really interesting because the heroine in this, it looks like she is able to actually dream walk and visit the dreams of others. And that is her ability that she has. So it looks like there's some suspense and a little bit of fantasy by virtue of her being able to dream walk. And it looks like a really intriguing story. I very much enjoy Carrie Cotten's writing, and I'm sure that this is going to be a phenomenal series. This is book 1, and I think it's a trilogy. I may be mistaken, but I think this one is a trilogy. The next author I'm going to cover, I have placed here because there's a little bit of fantasy in what this author writes. There's some historical fiction, and there's even some contemporary. So this author really spans a lot of different genres. And the books in each of those genres look so interesting to me, and I cannot wait to read more by this author. And that is Jody Hedlund. So I have read the first book. It's actually a novella prequel to one of her series, and it's called The Lost Princesses. So this is what I have read by her so far. This was just a novella. This wasn't even a full-length book, but it was so well done that it made me want to read more by Jody Hedlund. And I have not had any of her books on my TBR for a very long time, and we're going to have to do something about that. Maybe in September I can add one of her books, because she has an extensive backlist with so many books that look so good that I've been wanting to read. So of course, this is the prequel novella. One of the books that I would like to read by her is Evermore, which is the actual first full-length novel in the Lost Princesses series. And this one says on the back, an ancient key, a secret treasure, and a princess destined to use them both to fight evil and restore peace. So these have a little bit of this overtone of magic to them. They kind of feel fantasy. They kind of almost feel fairy tale retelling, though I don't know that this is actually a fairy tale retelling. I think it's just fairy tale-esque, where it's got a little bit of that feeling mixed with a little bit of historical feel. But these look really good, and I'm excited to get into them. One of her historical, but still with a little bit of twist of fantasy, I guess, still, is her series Waters of Time. So the first one of that is Come Back to Me, and this one looks really good. I've heard amazing things about this series. I don't know why I have not started reading it yet. I need to get on that because these look so good, and I'm pretty sure I'll probably binge them once I start. But these are time travel, which I love time travel. I love time crossing. I love dual timelines. So anything like that makes me super excited. This one's kind of time travel into the past, into the times of knights. And we have contemporary people going into the past. That looks like so much fun. A little bit of history, a little bit of magical realism, I guess, and a little fairy tale sprinkling in there, but these look really good. One of her historical series that I'm looking forward to getting into is A Shanahan Match, and the first book in that series is called Calling on the Matchmaker. Yet another series that I've heard so many good things about. I've heard amazing things about her writing, her storytelling, her characters, everything. These just look so good. And she also has a contemporary series. Well, I don't know if it's a series or if they're kind of like loosely interconnected standalones, but those look amazing as well. Okay, I'm looking it up, and this is the Healing Springs Ranch books, and the first one is Spurs and Sparks. Just the names of these are clever, like Spurs and Sparks, Broncos and Ballads, Lassos and Lace, and Horseshoes and Honeymoons. These just sound like so much fun. So these are contemporary that look really, really good. So yes, she's definitely an author that I would like to get more into her backlist because she has so many books out there, and I am excited to dive into those. Another author that I would like to read more by is Julianne Donaldson. I read her book Edenbrook just last month and adored it. It was so, so good. It was one of those books that you hear tons of good things about and rave reviews about, and it actually lives up to those rave reviews. Like, it lives up to the hype. I absolutely enjoyed Edenbrook, and I actually have another book by her that I'm hoping to get into soon, and that is called Blackmore. And true to the humor of Edenbrook, it looks like that is in this novel as well, because on the back it says, Kate Worthington knows she can never marry the man she loves, so she plans to travel to India instead, if only to find peace for her restless spirit and to escape the family she abhors. But Kate's meddlesome mother has other plans. She makes a bargain with Kate. India, yes, but only after Kate has secured and rejected 3 marriage proposals. This looks like fun. I wonder what is going to happen with her securing and rejecting these marriage proposals, and I wonder if one of those marriage proposals is going to end up being someone she actually does love. And our last historical fiction author that I would like to read more by is Kate Breslin. So the first book that I read by Kate was a book titled Not by Sight. This was really fun. I enjoyed this book. There was a ton of misunderstanding between the 2 main characters, but in a way that you were wanting to follow their story to get to the point where they untangled what they misunderstand about each other. It was so well done. There's a little bit of everything in this. You've got romance, you've got action, you've got intrigue, you've got mystery, you have danger and betrayal that happens in this. There is a lot that goes on in this book and a lot of twists and turns. I very much enjoyed it, and I'm very much looking forward to reading more of this type of book by Kate. And the next one that I'm hoping to read is For Such a Time. Not by Sight takes place during the period around World War I, but For Such a Time takes place around the period of World War II, and it looks really, really fascinating. One of the blurbs on the back says, For Such a Time is an intimate portrait painted on a grand scale, bringing to life the drama and pain of suffering with the triumph and joy of freedom. So this looks really good. I know there's some other novels by Kate and they look really amazing as well. So I'm excited to read more by Kate Breslin. And last but not least, we are going to discuss a contemporary author that I'm looking forward to reading more by, and that is Emma St. Clair. The first book that I read by Emma St. Clair was If All Else Sails, and this was a really fun rom-com. I very much enjoyed it. It was very summery. I liked our main character so much. And she has a lot of different books that are similar to this or contemporary romances. And I would like to read more by her because I really did enjoy If All Else Sails. So a couple that I'm looking forward to are The Serendipity, and this is part of an interconnected series of books by multiple different authors to include Courtney Walsh and others that are kind of magical realism. They take place in contemporary times, but the building that all of these people live in is somewhat magical, and there's things that happen in this building. For this one, it says, he's a no-nonsense businessman, she's a free-spirited baker, but the magical building they live in seems to think they're a perfect match. So this building is actually trying to get them together, and I'm interested to see what that looks like and how this building has a life of its own and plays into our characters' lives. And another one I'm interested in trying is called Royally Rearranged, and that title sounds like a lot of fun. It says on the back, there will be a royal wedding. The only question, who will be my groom? And it also says an arranged marriage isn't the worst fate for a princess like me, especially because I've been in love with my intended groom since we were children. But when my prince shows up with an American girlfriend instead of an engagement ring, all arrangements are off. So this sounds like a fun and probably funny story with lots of humor as she is trying to figure out who she is actually going to marry now that the person she thought she was going to marry is definitely not the person for her. And that is everything. Those are all the authors I'm going to cover today. Which of these authors have you read, and which ones are you excited to read more books by? Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate you all so very much. And as always, remember to keep following your dreams and believing in the magic of this thing called life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.